Alrighty. TG. I am. Thank goodness it's Monday. Alright, another adventurous week. Heard some interesting stuff today. Sounds like China is getting ready to take care of that evergreen problem. It's a $7 trillion, not billion, not million, but $7 trillion problem. And it sounds like they're finally going to start resolving some of that and finding ways to paying back foreign investors. It's a big number. That's bigger than the 2008 real estate collapse, $7 trillion. So, that's something we've talked about here for, I guess, like this last 6 to 8 months, but you rarely ever see it anywhere else. But it is nice that they're finally starting to get organized on that. All right. Let's see where we at here. There's the dollar. Oh no, that's the Dow Jones. Excuse me. No, that's the dollar. No, that's the Dow Jones. There we are. Let's get the dollar back up there again. There it is. There's the dollar index. I think it's still pushing down a little bit. Yep, there it is. You can see that. That's the weekly. It's still pushing down. And there is the daily. Still pressing down on J4X. And let's slide over to Chicago Quant. Let's get that up on there again. See the more update situation. I knew I saw something where they were starting to pop. So I thought that was a little off when I saw that. So that'll change. Also, we cleaned up the dots over the weekend, and I just need to remove the one that I didn't clean up and insert the ones that I did. Move that over to there. And this way you'll see it. There is the, that's it, down. Yes. And then you'll be able to see the volatility dot situation at the same time. Right there is an up. Yeah, there's up. There we go. And close. And that's where you go. You can see there, see if we have a double dot situation. There it is right there. Right before a volatility occurs. A lot of times we get these double dots, and then you can see the next day we start to feel that pressure. Where was the last one? From here it was kind of interesting. You had it 2 days before a real explosion in the sense of, prices in action. And let's see, this one here was kind of cute in the sense that it was just a nice little ride up. Sometimes we'll get a daily sell, and then you get a daily buy the next day from there, 2 days later, and it has a shift. But they're a warning sign, like right here. Matter of fact, I saw it, now that I have it fixed, I had it on the weekly Dow, and it was funny how it did the 4 out of 5, but it did it in a different pattern. But it was still 4 out of 5, which I thought was kind of interesting. And so you can see that there, and let's widen this over a little bit more, like so. There we go. And as you can see, let's make that a little bit bigger. This is the Chicago Mercantile Dollar Index, where the IMF is, the International Monetary Fund Exchange. So let's see, price scale. Let's just increase that price scale too. Let's make it to 14. There we are. And you see we landed in a... what's up with that? Let's see what this week is doing already. I need to fix that. Move that over there too. And see if... There it is. Let's see. You'll see what the weekly is right there. That should put it in there. There we go. So weekly is still pressing down. You can see starting this week off with the weekly algorithm here down at the bottom. You see that we're in the minus there. And... we went into the daily sell up in here. Is it there? Right there. The daily sell right there. And it's been sloppy. And then it gave us a little warning on that pop up, but still was in the sell. And we're still in the sell now. And it's trying to lift again today. We'll see what they do there. Let's get the chat line up. Didn't get the chat line up yet. I just realized that. I just looked over to see if anybody said anything, and I'm like, where's the chat line? Where'd it go? Let's see, what button do I press here? No, wrong mouse. I should know better. It's red compared to black. There we are. Let's get to the chat line. There it is. And there's Doc right there. There we go. I guess we hear ourselves now. Yeah, I see Metho. There's Robin. There we go. Yes. Excellent. 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 You like that, Robin? Got those graphics much clearer. I keep on. Robin keeps giving me good hints on what to fix. Because I get lost in these things sometimes. And then there's Metho. Yeah, Metho. Robin's been saying that. He says, he hears Robin. Robin. The telephone when someone asks about Chicago Quant, they see Robin's phone number, so they get a chance to talk to Robin. And some of them are telling them, it's like, hey, the graphics need to be worked on more, and so that's definitely much more clearer now. All right, from there, let's take a look at the euro, see what the euro is. But I would say the biggest excitement of this week really is the evergreen getting resolved, or not resolved, but the start. The government actually has accepted the fact that evergreen is a problem. That's a good thing in China. I mean, you're talking about a $7 trillion debt. $7 trillion debt. When people tell me China's going to take over the currency market, I go, well, it would be really nice. Yeah, Evergrande. It would be really nice. Did I say Evergreen? Evergrande. It would be really nice if they could actually get a currency that floats. Then we could actually start to take it a little bit more serious. But until they get a currency that floats, and is not, what do they call that, fixed? In other words, the government, the Bank of China, the People's Bank of China sets a price for it each day. That's it. Boom. So it's not the market. And so how can you measure how the GDP is in the country, or the the growth, or any of the statistics, CPI? You can't really measure any of those things of China, because the currency, in other words, you're using the fixed value of what the People's Bank of the People's Bank of China declare what the currency is. And that's no way of understanding a currency. It's bad enough we have central banks influencing the price of our currencies as it is. But speaking of which, wow, over the weekend, I saw the Turkish lira, Euro-Turkish lira pairs trade lifting up into the 19s. So that'll be very interesting to see today, too. But, yeah, we really need floating currencies. Pressure. If nothing else, you can say one thing about the Turkish lira, and that is at least you see those wild fluctuations. And you know that's the marketplace doing it. That's the marketplace. And it's not the central bank. Now, they may be the ones taking benefit from the low sale price, and then closing it at the end of the day, painting the tape situation. But at least you see those odd fluctuations. And that's what you really need, is you need to be able to see raw data, real raw market data, where it's influenced by the world and the world's traders and the central banks all battling it out. That's what you really need. So, all right, let's get over to, there it is right there. That's the British pound, but let's get to the euro. There's the euro this morning. And you can see we have fixed our dots. There's a green and a red before that nice move that occurred. Unfortunately, it didn't give us anything here, but that's the way it goes. We get into a sell, and it goes down. And we look at that as a bonus situation when we see, like, there's a red-green right there. The next day was a nice little swing up. And it's not telling us that it's swinging up. It's just telling us it's going to be volatile. That's what it's telling us. And you can see here, there's one right. Oh, you can't see that. Let's go to this. Let's just make it bigger here for the moment. Where's that mouse? There's the mouse. And you can see, like, right here again. Finally, this one occurred right there. And in this case here, it took 3 days. It was climbing up, and then all of a sudden you had a nice big drop. So usually 2 or 3 days, 1 day. It's usually anywhere from 1 to 3. In a case like here, you see it slid into the sell for the day, and then goes back into a buy and has a nice little sloping move from there. So it's usually a sign of volatility to come. And you can see the the width of the high and low of the bars, how it increased from the tightness from when it came. So you know if volatility is going to accelerate. We just don't know if the actual price action is going to be down or up until we see the dots in our histogram out of our algo. But it's always nice. Just a nice little wake-up call. Like, watch out. Bump in road. Exactly. All right, from there, let's take a look at the cable. Let's see what's up with the cable this morning. As you can see here, let's just finish this off and put it up on J4X too. And as you can see here, the euro against the dollar, where are we at? Right there. You see it's been marching up, 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 up with big greens on the hinky-ashky bars. And you can see underneath, you can see the kind of the fast stochastic, the green line, and the dashed slow stochastic is reaching the top end of its range. It's in the 90s now, or low 90s that is, but still that's high. And so you think, well, maybe it's going to top out. So far we're not seeing anything here on Chicago Quant, as you see there. It's still lots of greens and still reaching. Would like to see, some type of sloping down of that, but overall it's got a good distance to go unless they really slam the daylights out of it. And we're in that long weekly action, same as J4X's, with going on a fourth week now of powering up. Indeed. Now we'll look at cable. And there's cable. Let's see, and I got the same thing. I got the red and the green dots now working right again. And you can see it's also same 4-week trend. Let's put it up over here on J4X. Bitcoin looks up to me. I could have sworn it closed at 1,600 on Friday. And somehow or another, they're saying it's down $104 today. So they must have, I guess they show action from the weekend. But I thought Bitcoin was actually firm. And what's interesting is that when we get to there, we'll look at that when we go over to the stock indices. Let's see, where's it at? GBP, there it is. When we get over to the stock indices, we'll take a look at that. But they just flashed up on the one of the financial channels about Bitcoin being down a little bit, or down again today. If you're sitting on the sidelines, please feel free to ask questions. Great. What markets are you watching? Doc will review them. Yep, exactly. Thank you, Robin, for reminding people that. Sometimes we forget to tell people you can ask questions, and like a Metho will see some products that he wants to look at or she wants to look at, and we go and look at it. And so, yeah, I love to look at things. You don't have to wait for me to just ramble through my slow, steady constitution of what I look at each day. I do that solely because if I didn't, I wouldn't have a direction in a sense. Because there's so many products out there, I can't just go, okay, this caught my eye today and that caught my eye today. But there's so many things with our math is so accurate that a lot of things catch our eye every day. So I need to have like a consistency of products we look at, because our math is so accurate. It's telling you the trend and the daily trend or the weekly trend, and sometimes we go in and look at intraday trends. Don't be afraid to ask for that either. All right. From there, we go over to the Swiss. Swiss seems to have straightened out now. So they seem to have gotten through that situation where the Federal Reserve was doing swaps with them to adjust whatever problem they were dealing with. Seems to be over with. You can see it's nicely moving down, like the way the euro is nicely moving up. For a while they were moving totally independent of each other, which is kind of rare. So there's the Swiss. You can see it's in that daily sell since right here. Oh, I need to fix the dots too. Let's fix the dots in that. Remove study. Yep. Yes. Remove study. Yes. There we go. And then let's put the adjusted dots in that I finally got around to fixing. Move that over. Get it out of the way. Add down. There it is. Yes. And then add up. Yes. There we go. Let's see if there's any double dots anywhere around on this. I guess when we had one, we had a little pocket of them right there. Let's widen that. Oop. Hit close. There we are. And then go like that. And you can see here, that was the last of the doubles. There was a double there too. And let's widen out the manifold itself, or the just the whole combination. There we are. Move it down a little bit. Where's those little red arrows? Move us up and down. Have we lost that? There they are. Down. There we go. So you see there, we went into the daily cell right here. We flirted that week with the weekly cell, literally almost right on top of it right there. And then we usually put it, we put the line at the end of the week in there. But when we have a chance, we'll adjust. We always adjust them. When the green line breaks the bottom manifold itself, we always move the weekly line itself there. But we usually put them at the end of the week. And the same thing here. If it would break it on the upside, that would automatically, like when it did, like right. I guess it's right there. Is that it? Let's see. What do we have here? Where's the middle line? Right there. There we are. Okay, so in this case here, it did it on the close of that week. Didn't really worry about it. It was all pushed through it. All right, there you go. And so there's the Swiss, and we can remove that now. The warning sign of Swiss breaking down. And Swiss is still feeling that pressure. You see a little strength in it today, just a little. I think we're seeing the same thing in the euro too, right? It's doing the LS thing. So yeah, see, euro's dropping down a little bit, but nothing major. It's just a consistency, I guess you could say. And then from there, we go to the Turkish lira. Oh no, you know what we've been doing? We've been going to the Japanese yen. That's what it is. Right there. There's the Japanese yen. And so you can see right there. Oh, and let's fix the dots in that also. Remove. Yes. Remove. Yes. And then insert indicator. Move that out of the way so you can see it. Add. Down. Here it comes. You'll see the little red dots pop up all of a sudden again. There they are. And they don't have to be as big unless you need them to be as big. Solely because now you can tell what they were doing is they were opening, like the red and green dots were appearing on top of each other, so we couldn't see the differential. And so in this case here, you see it happens. Let's widen this a little bit. Oh, and yeah, we didn't put the weekly cell in there either, did we? Where's that at? Oh, we had to close. There we are. And there's that weekly cell from last week. There we go. And so you see, we went into the daily cell here. Oh, there you go. There was a red and a green right before it. And it broke down and it's developed the same trend. Sometimes it'll shift after, like, the second day. This is the first day after a red and green, and then the second day, a lot of times it'll shift, could go into green dots, and all of a sudden go on a ride up. In this case here, it's obviously stayed in that downtrend, which is nice. And you can see the pressure on the weekly. And let's save that. Yes, save. There we go. So there's the action on Mr. and Mrs. Yen. And that's kind of interesting. We thought this product could find its way back down into this area here. Like, what's that, the 36s? It's gotten down now to about 38, the low 38s. We thought maybe we'd get down into the 36s, 37 area. So we'll see. It seems like things are calming down between the yen and the Swiss franc. Both of them had been in lockstep. So whatever was going on in the Swiss franc was obviously also going on in Japan. And they were moving opposite of other currency pairs. And now they seem to have stopped doing that. I guess, we're getting close to the end of the year. We're now basically in the middle of November. So we only have 45 days to the end of the year. We show it every year. It's kind of interesting. They show, countries borrowing from the Federal Reserve at the end of the year to flatten out their books for the year, and then I guess they go into they pay them back somewhere along the line going into the following year. It's almost like the old days when you could do options and roll your options and keep your losses year after year after year, and you didn't have to pay taxes on it. So all the money you made in options didn't have to be paid until, I guess it was somewhere along, I forget when they changed that law, about 10 years after we were doing it. And then everybody had big tax bills. That's the way it goes sometimes. A little sip of the tea there. All right. From there, we now drift over to the Turkish lira. And let's go take a look at the dollar Turkish lira to start with. Right there. And let's take a, you know what we didn't do? We didn't put let's just put the yen on there real quick. Like that. It was the last thing we saw. You can see all that red just like we see on Chicago Quant. You see the lines. That's interesting, is that the stochastics is down at 15. You know, so it's moving towards the bottom. You know, so it's a pretty big bottom. Look at that. Last time they were there was in August, and they put a bottom in. So let's hope not. I would like to see hope the yen calms down a little bit more for them. Now let's go over and take a look at the dollar Turkish lira. Right there. And you can see it's trying to lift up. Let's see what it looks like over here on the raw. In the raw, it's doing the same thing. Lifting up, and it's still in a weekly buy for 41 weeks now. Let's fix that. It's like a countdown. We're just constantly, just when you think it's, is that it? No, that's not it. It's right there. There it is. Is that it? Yeah, that's the one. 41 now. And go like that. Say okay. There we are. And when it comes to over here, you can see the what is that? Okay, that was a daily. So it went into a buy, dropped into the sell. Oh, we need to fix. Oh, let's fix the dots first in case that's the red and green. It doesn't. You know, we don't count that when it's a red and green. It has to be one dot or the other, or no dot. Remove. There we go. Now let's tighten it up a little bit. See, this is those big fluctuations we were talking about. We'll just make it really tight for a moment so you can get a flavor of what we're talking about here about floating currencies. You know, these fluctuations now are relatively new. We've rarely seen anything like that for the last 8 or 9 years in the Turkish lira, but it's began after they changed that or they created that new strategy to protect the currency, and everything looked fine at the time, but you know, and the end result is that it didn't play itself out. No, good morning, not good. Good morning. That's what that was, Robin. Good morning. That's what that was. All right, now let's get the dots back in there again. I just saw that. Guess where that email went? Both of those emailed. They went to spam. I saw spam having 2 things in it. Anytime I see anything in spam now, I have to check, because ever since Comcast changed things around here, you get a lot of stuff that's important in the spam box, which is really odd. All right, let's put those. There comes the green dots. There we go. And let's get the red dots in there. There we go. And then we can close that. And then we can bring it back to a smaller situation, not showing you these crazy wild moves here, all that. Let's see. Bing, 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 bing. One more. There we go. Yeah, so okay, so it did go into a sell there. Then jump back into the buy there, and we're in the buy again on Friday, and we are on the buy in there today. So we'll go like that. And let's see, where did the sell go? Start off here. See, you had a red green there before it started to slide down. Let's put that in there like so. And then let's make that red, like so. And then let's put the green back in there like so. There we are. And that's where we stand with that. But when it comes to the weekly, we are looking at 41 weeks now in a weekly buy. And it doesn't seem to want to give up. It still seems to be dragging along, which is fine with me. We'll just move it right there like that. I would be, we've seen this thing do this in the dollar index before. We've been following this product for 7-8 years now, and maybe even 9 at this point. And we have seen, we've watched it go from 1 and change all the way up to, I think we started paying attention to it when it jumped into the 3s, when it went from one Turkish lira against $1, and then it got to like 2 Turkish lira to the dollar. We thought, well, that's a pretty big jump, instead of like 1.5 or 1.3. And I think we started paying attention to it then, and then the next thing you know, we went from 2 to 4, and then 4 to 8, and then 8 to 16, and it's been an incredible hyperinflation situation. So, and there we are now. And we've seen it. One time we saw it go. 1 year we saw it go 53 or 54 weeks in a buy. I want to say that, or was it 52? 52 is a year. It got beyond a year by a week or two, so it must have been 54. Another year, I think we saw it go to 47 weeks in a buy, and then slip into a sell for a couple of weeks, and then back into the buy again. So it's been over the decade now. I guess you could say over the last 9-10 years, we've seen this thing put some real accurate signals on where it's going, and now we're at, in this case here, I guess the all-time high is right there now. I guess it's the 19 and change. That's 18. The central bank seems to say that they defend the 18 area. That's what ignited it last time. Yeah, 19 and change now is the all-time high in this product. But that's what started the whole thing back in, here, I'll show it to you. That's what started it. And we'll throw it up on J4X too at the same time. There we are. Let's see if we can move this over. Can you see that? No, you can't see it that way. Let's go like this. Widen it again. And bring it back 1. Like that. There we go. And this is what started it. It was in December of last year. Is that December? Yeah, December of last year, right before the end of the year. Literally, what was that? That was the 23rd, maybe? 21st. They declared that they would give option derivatives to people who bought the currency. And that's why you had this wild move, because they were giving out free puts. So arbitrageurs automatically think, well, if I'm going to get a free put, I can put a bigger position on. And so they made an announcement about it, and then what happened was, from there it seemed to fall into the situation where they started saying they had some rules, but they didn't exactly clarify what the rules were. And so we thought, okay, okay, that sounds interesting. And I thought that was a great, brilliant way to defend their currency. To buy, just give out. In other words, a lot of countries over the years have done things to protect their currency by selling all the cash in their sovereign fund, borrowing money from the IMF. They do all these big budget things. Instead, if you just give out puts, you're only talking about, instead of paying, in this case here, 18 to defend your currency, you're only paying like a point. Really, it's like paying 17 or 16 and a half. No, I'm sorry. It's like paying 1 or 1.5. Or 2, not 18 or 19. So it's a much cheaper way of doing things. You could create a line item veto on your taxing system, and you could actually charge taxes in some ways, because you could think to pay for that, investors are going to hold on to your currency. And so they're not going to have as many capital gains, short-term gains or long-term gains. They're going to hold on to their currency as an investment, a place to park money, somewhere safe. And so we thought, wow, that's brilliant. And the rest of the market did too. You could see it fell from 18, which they claimed was the drop-dead point, which happened to be our drop-dead point too, which was really funny. We had said that we were going to expect to see 18, and when the Central Bank of Turkey saw 18, they said, we have to defend our currency, and this is what we're going to do. And this had been a strategy that they suggested back about 4 or 5 years earlier. And the son-in-law, I believe, of President Aragon had suggested it, and they never implemented it. But when the currency back then, the currency was trading in the 7s and 8s. So when it got to 18, that was super, super high inflation, and they had to do something about it. And they did. And you can see the nice move that occurred right there. It was, brilliant as far as I was concerned. But after a couple of weeks, it started to hit its mathematical mean, kind of like the center point, which is all right. But then it just slowly drifted, and it went back into the weekly buy in February, right here, I guess it was. We went into a weekly buy. Surprisingly, our lines are not reflected there. Let's put that in there. And we can find the exact date. I think it was like right around in there. We went into a weekly buy, and it has never come back out of it. That's the problem. It's been in that weekly buy from that area ever since. So, like I said, I thought it was a brilliant move, but you can see here, we'll just take a quick line and throw it in there for the fun of it. You can see here, it's now parked itself where the central bank said this was unacceptable. You can see it there. It's parked itself on top of it, and it's, sitting there. So, anyway, that is the gist of it all, and that's what we've been experiencing over the last, 9-10 years. We've been watching this currency go from like 1 to all the way out to where we're at today, 1860 it's trading at now. So that, and we scrunch it up and make it small just so you can see the less wilder moves. And you can see this day here, it went down to 16 even, and the high of the day was, no, I'm sorry, it wasn't 16 even. It went down to 18, almost 18 even, 18.08, and at the same time the high of that day was 1868. So that's a pretty wild day. Same thing like there. It was almost about a 40 handle moves type of thing. That's a pretty big move. And so you can see here we're just kind of parked now, and it's just kind of hesitating on the top of where they thought they had resolved their issues, and obviously not, but just looking at price action. All right, from there, we'll jump over to what I always like to say, excuse me, location, and that is the Turkish lira against the euro. Take a sip of my tea there. And let's put that up there. And there it is right there. You can see it's been marching up in that buy now for a bunch of days. It's been in a weekly buy since back in here. And, let's fix the dots on that too. Remove. Yes. Remove. Yes. And then reinsert them. Move that out of the way. Add. There we are. And here comes the green ones. And then let's add the red ones. And there they are. And so, what else could we say about any of that? I guess that's about the end of that true action. And you can see here, in that, this trade's smoother and better, and we can go further back, but you can see some of the strange moves that go all the way down. Someone comes in, tries to sell an enormous size that no one wants, and then they lower the bid, transact it down there, and then by the end of the day, they paint the tape, as we say on the old Wall Street, and it closes flat or higher on the day. In a case like this, you saw the day before, that seller was out there previously again, and they closed it at the low of the day, and then went lower the next day, and then it found a way to go back up again. So that's the magic, I guess you could say, of it all. And you can see, in this case here, the strength has been, for the last couple of weeks, on the upside, and for 3 full weeks, now going on a 4th week, in a weekly buy. So, trying to catch up to that 41, I guess. I don't know. We'll see. Then from there, we start to look at the 2 currency pairs that we watch that match to a commodity. And so we're looking at the Canadian here. So this is the dollar CAD trading, and when it's going down, it's gaining against the dollar. That's what that's doing, because we look at it in a what I like to say Eurocentric way, not in an American way, because we do the inverse. We divide instead of multiply to look at it. So in other words, right now we're trading, Canadians at 68 cents or 67 cents, something like that. You can see it's in a weekly sell also from that point right there, and it's been pressing down. This is a second full week, and now we're starting the third week in a downtrend, and it's not looking like it's trying to straighten itself out on any level, which normally when this goes down, usually what we see is we see oil trying to lift up. Let's put it up on J4X there. And so oil tries to go up in value right there. There's West Texas. You can see there it's lifting up. In the case here, let's go try to it right there. There's the spot. It closed in a daily buy last week. It is flirting with the weekly buy right here, but it is, was it down just a little bit for the day? It is down on the day. Down $1.10 to be exact right there, $1.12 right there. And but the internals, the algorithms are showing that the buying is still coming in, and the weekly is joining in after falling into a weekly sell last week. And we were in a daily buy, weekly sell, so you can't be short at the moment. So this is good. If this stays in the daily buy, and this is now, you wouldn't want to short it because you're up in the, you've broken through here, the top of the manifold. So that's a pretty aggressive push. We'll see how they play this, because no doubt the oil market has its own nature of volatility compared to, let me stop myself there. Back in the 80s, as the listed options market became extremely active, they created the high beta index for stocks because it was making a lot of stocks very volatile, and they collected up these institutional, they had like low beta stocks versus high beta stocks. In other words, volatile stocks basically in essence. And so then, you fast forward to, or not fast forward, but you just look at the crude. The crude has always had some great volatility. It has its own nature. We've seen this product actually go minus. Can you imagine someone pays you to take the oil contract, and you don't have to buy it. They give it to you, and they pay you to take it. That type of thing. So, this has its own natural volatility, and it's a much greater one, because it's a world product, and right now the world seems to be starved of inventory. It has it in the ground. It's just some places are just not digging it out of the ground, like America. We should be around 15 million barrels a day. We're around 11, I think. So we're about 3.5 to 4 million barrels off from where we should be. Under the previous administration, we were a plus in oil production. Now we are in a minus. So, let's see, what else can we say about that? I guess that's about it there. Let's just take a look at the Canadian on J4X also right there. And you can see it's heading down because crude oil overall is trying to be strong here, even with it down $1.16 at the moment. The algorithm itself is telling us, don't worry, be happy. It's going to lift back up again. All right. From there, we go and we look at copper. Right there, there's copper. Wait a minute. No. We stay with, we go to gold. I'm sorry about that. We go to gold. If the yuan was a liquid currency, we would probably look at copper and the yuan. But due to the fact that they're both fixed prices over there, it's hard to follow it because it's not really doing anything. So we go to gold. You see the same thing, gold down a little bit, but in a daily buy since this spot. Oh, let's fix the dots. Did we fix the dots? Yeah, we did. It's fixed already. Yeah, so you can see the red and green right there, and then we got a big volatile day the next day. And nothing here. Oh, yeah, there was one. We got red and green there, and the next day it was a nice big jump. A range of about $40. That's pretty big. And you can see we're in a weekly buy since then, too. It went down a little bit. The line stayed above. We've tried to clean up this weekly situation where we went into the weekly buy 4 weeks back. This is the fourth week now. And we've tried to fix that thing. I mean, I've tried. The data is I don't want to call it corrupted. The data changed from the exchanges, and it's just different than what our machine's collecting at this point when it comes to those back weeks. And I don't have anywhere to go because the exchanges are saying that's what the new data is. And I wrote down there on the bottom of this chart in particular. If you hear me, Robin, that's what that's all about. Can't fix new exchange data, but day algo is not influenced, and that's the good thing. I can at least look at the day one and go, oh, okay, good. I have a better idea. So that makes me a little bit happier, but we were in a weekly buy, and then somewhere along the line they changed, like the black pools or something came in, and open interest changed, and the volume changed, and the prices changed, and I've tried to fix it in every which way, but it's been very hard. So I put a big thick line in there and wrote that there, and that's probably the best way to deal with it at this point. So we've been in a buy since there, and which is typical classic. Daily goes into sell, and then it puts in a new low here 3 days later. After 2 days ago, the 2 days before it, you get a red and a green, and I believe, let's put gold up on J4X. I believe that is like a 2-year low or something like that, or I think it's something like that. Let's check it out on J4X. J4X is really good for that. So there it is there. No, okay, so, we may not, let's go back further. Because I don't see, this low right here, in raw numbers from the exchange, is the low, $1,619.40, and the low here is $1,627. And the low there is 16, okay, so that was it, $1,619.40. And I don't think we've seen a low like that in a long time. Going back there is just almost a year now, right there. Is that a year? Yeah, it's a year. And that was in the 1700 area where you're seeing there. That's not the 1600 area. So that could be, with these Hinky Ashkis, they do a multiple. That's how they generate Hinky Ashkis. So the high, low, and close and open is multiplied by 4 and then divided by 2, and that's why they're a little bit more of a distortion, but they do have a 68% correlation with our dots, and they're a little lagging, but that's all right. But you can see here, let's make this bigger even, and you'll see that the last time we were down in that area was, what is that? That is 2019, okay? So that was a while ago when we broke down in that area. There it is right there. So it gave us that red-green dot combination. 2 days later, it made like almost a 3.5-year low, or at least a 3-year low, that's for sure. And then it had a massive volatility day right afterwards again. And it was still in the buy. That's the weird part. And we mentioned that too back then. Here it made a new low, but it didn't go into the sell. We were like, wow, this is something good. Could really lift. We had platinum going into a weekly buy. We were saying that, the metals have to be bought again. And then silver joined in. The next week, I guess, is it? Oh, we don't. Where are we at? We need to look at the South African Rand. We'll come back to the metals after this. And then here's the South African Rand. And we'll look at the South African Rand against the gold, and you can see it's dropping like that, and you can see over here it is rising, the gold. In other words, that's the way it works. As gold gains in value, the South African Rand gains in value against the dollar. So when it's dropping, it's gaining against the dollar. Now let's go take a look at it on Chicago Quant real quick. And there it is right there. You can see same situation's been in a sell since right here of this move. Ooh, let's fix the dots. There you go. Right, move that out of the way. And let's add that in, like so. There we are. Here comes the reds. No, I'm sorry, there's the greens first. Let's do the reds. Right there. There we go. There's the reds. And you can see right before this one, there you go, a red and a green, and then the next day was a nice big slide. But we were already in a daily sell from here, and in the weekly sell from here. So, oh, let's fix that. There we are, like that. And so that's all right. I mean, we were in a weekly sell from there, and it broke down, and found its way to keep on falling. And that's pretty good. We'll see how the South African, as long as we keep on thinking that the metals, we've been saying this for, I don't know, 5-6 months. I kept on thinking the end of the year was going to be a better play in the metals. And here we're finally getting it. And platinum led us off on that attack. When we switch over to the currencies, away from the currencies to that, we'll take a look at it. And here is the Mexican peso. Let's fix that too. And this is the last of the currency pairs that I chase after. But if anybody has a currency pair they'd like to see, just shout it out. We'll go after it. There we are. And let's insert now the red and green dot combination. There we are. Here comes the greens. And then the reds. We can make those dots bigger too, now that they're not. We had to keep, because of the way it was doing it, they were closing on top of each other. We had to keep one dot big and one dot small because it was like becoming confusing. There we are. So you can see there, we're getting a red and green as we speak at the moment. Let's see how that lasts out. Last red and green was up in here. You see that right there. And that took, the next day you got the big volatility push. And then it was in the green, it was in a buy from here. It actually closed in a buy that day. And let's put the line on there too. Right there like that. Let's widen that out more. And it stayed in a buy for that little move. And at the same time, we were in a weekly buy. So right there like that. You can see that. Let's put that weekly line in there like so. Let's save this. There we are. And so you can see here, now today, we haven't had too many shifts. Matter of fact, there was back-to-back, to be exact, which is kind of interesting. So you had right here, let's see if we can get the reds bigger too. Do both of these things bigger, since now they're not on top of each other. There we are. Not that. There we go. So you see there, we had back-to-back days, and then it went into a buy, kind of climbed, but not really much in the Mexican peso against the dollar. Went into the sell, no green or red dot, unfortunately, too bad. And now we're generating one now towards the below the range. We're below the range, and we're wondering, when you look at the weekly, you can see the pressures on it. It's pretty much long in the tooth in the sense that it's really down. And so, but at the same time, we went into a daily sell right here. So let's put that in. Right there. There we go. And so we are flirting, but notice the algo, the center algo, the daily algo is not lifting up into a buy. So we're not really seeing a lot of push there. But we'll keep an eye on it. It is down on the day, so that's okay. But it does have a good look to it, like it wants to get back up into the range. And that could be literally the crazy politics we're going on. So we have this is the election month. Here we are on the 14th, and they're still trying to figure it all out. A lot of the red states, they get it done in under 12 hours. But the blue states, they seem to carry it on for literally weeks. So there you are. That's the Mexican peso. And from there, now we go over to the metals complex. Right there. And so there's the gold. You can see it's strong and it's lifting up still, but just down a little bit for the day. And let's put the silver up on J4X right there. Same thing. It's showing some strength for a bunch of days. See all those greens on the J4X of the Hinky Ashkies. And you see same situation right here. And the dots are fixed. There was that last red-green right there. Down, and it went down the next day pretty aggressively, and then it stayed in that cell, and then we went into the buy here about a week later, and without a red and green, too bad, but it climbed either way. And then went into a sell just for a few days, and we're back into the buy now for almost 8 days now, isn't it? In 7 days. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days now. And we're 2 weeks going on a third week in the buy. And so we felt pretty comfortable watching our platinum get into the buy, gold getting, staying in the buy, and same thing with silver and so forth. And we've been seeing the strength out of it. I mean, silver now has gone from $18 basically to not 22, but very close to it. So it's been a $4 move, and that's been pretty good. And $19 to 22 almost, so it's almost a $3 move since it went into the daily buy and a weekly buy. So that's been very impressive. All right, from there we take a look at the copper. Copper has been jumping. I guess they knew that they were going to do the evergreen thing, and they just front runned it. You can see here they went into the buy. Okay, so yeah, now there's the dots, so we have to move that over from the gap. I have to check this math out to make sure that's all right. And let me see. Let me just double check it real quick, because I can see it here. Let's see, what's that? That is December copper. Let's see what December copper looks like. That needs to be lower. It needs to be fixed. I can see that, and then that needs to be fixed also. So this needs to be fixed. The fourth. Let me just double check it. Yep, the fourth needs to be fixed, and the what is it? The Friday needs to be fixed. That's what it is. We'll take care of that after the fact. Where else do we go from here? Why not do it here? Unless someone wants to see something, I might as well get it done. Oh, there's Metho. Hey, Metho. Time for gold now? Oh yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. I like that. Recession and inflation, recession and yes, indeed, recession and inflation. What would It's like, yeah, I know. It's a battle between both, isn't it? It's really crazy. I mean, I guess you couldn't. I mean, no one could really. Well, I guess you can in some way, but it is the funniest, oddest situation we've seen in a long time, and that is that the fact that they do things like that. That is really, really weird. I mean, the whole thing has been weird. Everything has been weird. I mean, there's no way of really, really describing how strange this whole marketplace has been. Just strange. It's. I mean, they started off. What did they start saying? They called it. What did they call it? Transitory. Right, yeah, they started off with transitory. They didn't want to accept the idea that inflation was taking off. I mean, it's very strange. The whole thing has been very strange. I guess it goes right up. Someone sent me something, a friend from one of the old exchanges sent me something. Oh, let's see, reconnect. Reconnect. Oh, wrong place. And they talked about, the whole situation, and how strange it has been, just the whole thing. It was just, we are going through a strange era. I said to them that it wouldn't surprise me, in decades to come, that people will look at this and say, this was very strange. You know, it was a lot of politics, and they really abused the system, you know, overall. You know, it wouldn't surprise me at all. So, all right, where are we at? 26. So it's time to kind of skedaddle, unless someone wants to see something. Oh, wait a second. What do I have to? Oh, I have to refresh this. Let me refresh this because I'm not seeing the chat line now. There we go. So yeah, we are going through a very strange era in finance and politics, and it's just very strange. You know, and you know, growth and success has been thrown out the door. People just don't care about that for some reason or another. Something's going on. Let's put it that way, because it's really odd what is not important and what is important. Boys competing against girls in sports is important, and you know, economics and what you pay for fuel, and you know, the level of financial frustration has, you know, reached a max at this point. So it's very strange overall, but it is what it is. You trade them as they trade. You know, I mean, that's what you do, and you don't have much of a choice. You just play them as they come. That's the way I look at it. So from there, if no one cares to see anything, what we'll do is we'll get out of here, and I'll start to get prepped for other adventures of the day. So I'll give you a few seconds to go through, you know, to see if you want to see something, and if not, then we're going to be gone for the moment. Let's see, right there. I'm just fixing the copper chart. That's what I'm doing. There we are. Now, I guess that's about it. All right. This is Doc from North America. We will catch you tomorrow, same time, same channel. So, happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends. Later, traders. Have a safe and smart trading day. See you tomorrow.